Very good evening, viewers. You're watching the latest edition of 6 Stories at 6 and I am Rakta Mishra with you, viewers. The top story on the lineup is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's unsparing rebuke against Congress and RJD over the insults hurled at him and his mother at a rally in Bihar. He sends out a clear message that abuse will not be tolerated and that it is an insult to the mother of the entire country. Now, viewers, we also get you how the Prime Minister has sent out a veiled dig and a strong message to United States once again amidst the tariff war. Story number 3 will be the stir, the breakthrough in fact in the Maratha stir. The protests have been continuing in Mumbai, but some demands have been met. That's what we are hearing from Mumbai. Also on the show, we tell you how the United States is rattled, completely rattled by the hugs and handshakes at the SCO. They're completely rattled by the Troika, but they're also softening their tone. We will tell you what Scott Bennett has said. We'll get the Bessent has said. Also, story number 5 will be the monsoon fury in the national capital and the national capital region. How many areas have been inundated and many areas have come to a standstill. And the final story will be about the earthquake, the ground situation in Afghanistan after a deadly earthquake hit the region. Viewers, the Prime Minister has always been very much upfront to respond to the opposition, but this time it was about his mother, the abuses hurled at his mother, and he was very much emotional. At the same time, he was unsparing in his attack. Prime Minister Modi today said that his mother was verbally abused. A mother who is no more in this world was abused from the campaign stage of the opposition bloc, saying that this act has humiliated every mother and sister. Listen in.
She was the guiding force of his life, the woman whose blessings he carried into the highest office of this country. And yet, she was dragged into the political mess. On a Congress platform, Prime Minister Modi and his late mother were abused, mocked, and dishonored. Today, Prime Minister Modi broke his silence. The PM said that not just his mother, but every Indian mother has been insulted by RJD and Congress.
बिहार में आरजेडी कांग्रेस के मंच से मेरी मां को गालियां दी गई। ये गालियां सिर्फ मेरी मां का अपमान नहीं है, ये देश की मां, बहन, बेटी का अपमान है।
The Prime Minister went further, demanding that the RJD and Congress apologize to the people of Bihar.
मेरी उस मां को जिसका राजनीति से कोई लेना देना नहीं, जिसका शरीर भी अब नहीं है, मेरी उस मां को आरजेडी कांग्रेस के मंच से भद्दी भद्दी गालियां दी गई। मैं बिहार के लोगों से भी कहूंगा, इस अपमान की जवाबदेही तय करवाना बिहार के हर बेटे की भी जिम्मेदारी है। आरजेडी कांग्रेस के नेता जहां भी जाएं, जिस गली, जिस शहर में जाएं, उन्हें चारों तरफ से एक आवाज सुनाई देनी चाहिए। हर मां बहन को मैदान में उतर करके उनसे जवाब मांगना चाहिए। हर गली मोहल्ले में से एक ही आवाज आनी चाहिए, मां को गाली नहीं सहेंगे, नहीं सहेंगे।
At the Bihar rally, the emotion was palpable. BJP state president and several women broke down as they watched the Prime Minister speak. And in that moment, PM Modi turned a political attack into a national call for respect.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister said today at an event that India's GDP grew by 7.8% in the first quarter of the financial year, despite challenges arising from economic selfishness, in an apparent reference to tariffs imposed on Indian goods by Donald Trump. Here's more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hit back at Donald Trump's tariff war and dead economy swipe with numbers and confidence. In a message aimed squarely at Donald Trump, Modi said India's GDP grew by 7.8% despite challenges arising from economic selfishness.
एक तरफ जब दुनिया भर की इकोनॉमी में चिंताएं हैं, आर्थिक स्वार्थ से पैदा हुई चुनौतियां हैं, उस माहौल में भारत ने 7.8% की ग्रोथ हासिल करके दिखाई है। और ये ग्रोथ हर सेक्टर में है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, सर्विसेज, एग्रीकल्चर, कंस्ट्रक्शन, हर तरफ उत्साह नजर आ रहा है।
The Prime Minister made the remarks while inaugurating Semicon India 2025, a summit to catapult India into the semiconductor race. Prime Minister Modi said India will soon become the world's third largest economy, adding that the global semiconductor future will be built with India.
40-50 से ज्यादा देशों का यहाँ रिप्रेजेंटेशन है और भारत की इनोवेशन और यूथ पावर भी यहाँ नजर आ रही है। और ये जो कॉम्बिनेशन बना है उसका एक ही मैसेज है, द वर्ल्ड ट्रस्ट इंडिया। द वर्ल्ड believes in India, and the world is ready to build the semiconductor future with India.
He went further, drawing a parallel between the oil of the 20th century and the chip of the 21st.
भारत आज जितनी तेजी से ग्रो कर रहा है, इससे हम सभी में, इंडस्ट्री में, हर देशवासी में नई ऊर्जा का संचार हो रहा है। ग्रोथ की यही दिशा है, तो भारत को थर्ड लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी बनाने की तरफ तेजी से बढ़ना पक्का हो चुका है।
With Trump's jibe hanging in the air, Modi's counterpunch was loud and clear. India is not a dead economy. It is the engine of global growth.
Now, the Bombay High Court came down heavily on Maratha quota activist Manoj Jarange Patil and his supporters, saying that they had violated the law by continuing their protest at Mumbai's Azad Maidan. Now, Manoj Jarange has claimed that his demands have been now met. Now, this happened, viewers, after a panel of ministers from the Maharashtra government had met him and presented him a draft and saying that the GR will be now published. Now, he has said that if the GR, he will in fact go through it, otherwise he will dump it. Meanwhile, celebrations continue to break out on the streets of Maharashtra. This happened while he was on protest, and there was a meeting that was going on between the ministers and Manoj Jarange Patil. Now this of course somewhere signals a breakthrough, as some of the demands at least have now been met in the latest update. Here's more what transpired in the day.
The hunger strike over the Maratha quota demand has entered its 5th day. Both the Mumbai Police and the Bombay High Court had issued an ultimatum to activist Manoj Jarange and his team, asking them to vacate the Azad Maidan by 3 p.m. today. Manoj Jarange's lawyers requested the Bombay High Court to grant them time until 11 a.m. tomorrow. The Bombay High Court then adjourned the matter till tomorrow on the basis of compliance with earlier orders. Maratha quota activist Manoj Jarange declared that the community's long-running agitation had achieved a breakthrough, telling thousands of supporters in Mumbai, "We have won." His remarks came in the presence of Maharashtra ministers as the state government signalled readiness to act on key demands. He has further claimed that the draft in response to his demands look fine, but if the GR is wrong, he will throw it away.
मुंबई के सड़कों पर जश्न की शुरुआत हो गई है। मराठा समाज के लोग जश्न मना रहे हैं। 5 दिनों से लगातार यहाँ पे प्रदर्शन कर रहे थे। मराठा आरक्षण को लेकर महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने इनकी मांगों को मान लिया है। अब मुंबई के आज़ाद मैदान के बाहर सड़कों की तस्वीरें दिखा रहा हूँ, किस तरह से यहाँ पे मराठा समाज के लोग जश्न मना रहे हैं, क्योंकि लगातार 5 दिनों से यहाँ पे प्रदर्शन चल रहा था। मनोज जरांगे पाटिल जो कि आज़ाद मैदान के अंदर मौजूद है, वो प्रदर्शन कर रहे थे। महाराष्ट्र सरकार का डेलीगेशन आया और मनोज जरांगे की बातों को मान लिया है। महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने जिया निकाल दिया और अब कहीं न कहीं मुंबई की सड़कों पर जश्न की शुरुआत हो गई है, क्योंकि 5 दिनों से मराठा समाज के लोग यहाँ पर आरक्षण की मांग को लेकर प्रदर्शन कर रहे थे, लेकिन सरकार ने इनकी बातों को मान लिया है। मराठा समाज को कुणबी प्रमाण पत्र दिया जाएगा। इसके बाद सामने देखिए किस तरह से तस्वीरें, देखिए किस तरह से मराठा समाज के लोग जश्न मना रहे हैं।
Earlier, the police had granted permission for a gathering of 5,000 protesters at the Azad Maidan in South Mumbai. However, more than 40,000 agitators arrived from various parts of Maharashtra. The protesters blocked roads in South Mumbai over the last few days by gathering in large numbers. Activist Jarange has been demanding inclusion of Marathas in the OBC category for reservation benefits. He had earlier said that he would not stop the protest until his demands are met by the government. All eyes now are on the Bombay High Court tomorrow as the Maratha quota standoff reaches a crucial juncture.
Now viewers, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit has sent alarm bells to Washington, shock waves to America, viewers, as globally we see that there has been a signaling by the troika of Xi Jinping, Narendra Modi and of course Vladimir Putin. It's a significant shift in the balance of power. Leaders from China, Russia, India had converged to strengthen alliances and challenge the Western influence to forge a new multipolar reality. And this emerging bloc, representing nearly half the world's population and vast economic resources, pose a substantial challenge to the United States' dominance. Here is the latest reaction from Washington, D.C. And also, one cannot help but notice the softening of the stance, the softening of the tone by Scott Bessent as well.
The handshake, the hug, the camaraderie. This wasn't just a moment of the day at the SCO summit. It was a moment that rattled the United States. The tables have turned. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit has sent a strong message to the world. The era of American dominance
is waning.
एक तरफ जब दुनिया भर की इकोनॉमीज में चिंताएं हैं, आर्थिक स्वार्थ से पैदा हुई चुनौतियां हैं, उस माहौल में भारत ने 7.8% की ग्रोथ हासिल करके दिखाई है और ये ग्रोथ हर सेक्टर में है। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, सर्विसेज, एग्रीकल्चर, कंस्ट्रक्शन, हर तरफ उत्साह नजर आ रहा है।
The West, led by the United States, faces a new multipolar reality.
I am very confident that India's future is safe, is secure, is resilient, and rests on the pillar of sustainability and high quality, cost competitiveness, to be able to engage with the whole world with confidence, and at the same time ensuring that inclusive growth which reaches the last man at the bottom of the pyramid, will be our credo, will be our ultimate and final target.
The SCO's growing clout is signaling a shift in the global power dynamics.
We are living in unprecedented times. Global policy turmoil has created huge uncertainty. In these turbulent times, India stands as a lighthouse of stability and growth. In these uncertain times, friends, you should come to India because our policy is stable. We have managed the semiconductor mission in a transparent and professional way. We have attempted to cover all the important manufacturing sectors.
The Indian economy is on a solid ground.
हम एक ऐसा सेमीकंडक्टर इकोसिस्टम बना रहे हैं जो भारत को आत्मनिर्भर और ग्लोबली कॉम्पिटिटिव बनाए.
And the union ministers are backing the Atmanirbhar Bharat push. The United States is cornered and is now downplaying the tariff escalation. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent acknowledged the strains but said that the partnership remained vital. Reasons of Trump backing Pakistan are now an open secret. Former United States National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan accused President Donald Trump of sacrificing ties with India to boost his family's business deals in Pakistan. The Biden-era official called the sabotaging of ties with India one of the most underreported aspects of Trump's foreign policy. This is by far India's biggest pushback against the United States.
Now, Delhi is witnessing flood-like condition in several areas, especially near the river Yamuna, as it is reaching the danger mark. Now, this after heavy rainfall triggered flood alert. Yamuna levels crossed the danger mark at the Iron Bridge, the old Iron Bridge in Delhi. Meanwhile, traffic and public movement on Loha Pul will be stopped from 5 p.m. today due to rising water level in the Yamuna River, so it already has been implemented. On the other hand, several households have been evacuated near the low-lying areas due to flood warnings. Here's more.
As rains continue to wreak havoc in northern India, a flood alert has been issued by the Delhi government as the Yamuna water levels continue to swell up. Traffic and public movement on Delhi's Iron Bridge will be stopped today due to the rising water level in Yamuna River after huge cusecs of water was released from the Hathanikund barrage.
Incessant rainfall has created havoc near by regions in the national capital. Right now we are just standing near the old railway bridge. Here you can see the visuals just near the old railway bridge. This is known as the railway bridge. This is a two-tier railway bridge. On the basement level, on the ground level at tier 1, the traffic normal vehicular movement you can see. On the above level at T2 level, from where the train basically crosses. And this is the bridge. Here you can see. I'd like to request my Vijay Ranbir to show you the visual of this bridge. This is the second bridge. This is a metro bridge. So what has happened that the water level at this bridge right now is 205.8 meter, which has already crossed the severe level mark, danger level mark. At around 5 p.m. they will close the vehicular movement on this very bridge, because the information that we have received that if the rainfall continues, then it is very likely that the water level will again increase and it will cross the 206 meter mark.
Meanwhile, a flood-like situation caused tensions in the Yamuna Bazar area of Delhi. Several people were seen evacuating to relief camps after the authorities issued advisory for people living in the Yamuna floodplain to evacuate as the water level of river was rising steadily.
दिल्ली के यमुना बाजार से हम आपको तस्वीरें दिखा रहे हैं जहां पे यमुना का जल स्तर बढ़ा हुआ है और यहां बात करें तो पूरी तरह जो लोगों के घरों में पानी घुस चुका है, मंदिर जो है वो पानी के अंदर हो गया है और लोगों को काफ़ी दिक्कतों का सामना करना पड़ रहा है। उधर भी थोड़ा सा कैमरा अगर हम अभिषेक पैन करके भी दिखाएं तो देखिए वो आपको एक दूर में एक और मंदिर जो है वो नज़र आ रहा होगा, यानी वो मंदिर का आधा हिस्सा जो है वो भी पानी में डूब चुका है। यानी एक बार फिर से राजधानी दिल्ली में बाढ़, यानी जो 2023 में स्थिति और जो 2023 में तस्वीरें देखने को मिली थी वही तस्वीर एक बार फिर से दिल्ली में देखने को मिल रही है।
चारा खत्म, सब्जी खत्म, जो गरीब आदमियों के हिल्ले, जो किसानों के हिल्ले वे सब खत्म। ये तो रात को 2 बजे इन्होंने टेंट लगाया। बाढ़ आज थोड़ी आई है, बाढ़ तो पिछले 10 दिन से आ रही है। ये लोग अपनी झुग्गियों में वहाँ कच्ची पक्की रोटी सेक कर, ना ईंधन बरसात में ना कुछ, सब दुर्गति का मामला है। रही दिल्ली सरकार, रही दिल्ली अजी सुरक्षित कहाँ के, जब इन्हें कुछ मिल ही नहीं रहे हैं, यहाँ तो लाकर ऊपर घेर दिए। ये तो आप भी आ जाते सड़क पर आके लेट जाते हैं। कोई साधन सुविधा कुछ तो होनी चाहिए।
On the other hand, the IMD has predicted heavy rainfall in Delhi NCR region over the next few days. The IMD has issued an orange alert for Gurugram as well, while Noida also is prepped for flooding in the Yamuna. With this, the people in Delhi will likely continue to batter waterlogged roads, huge traffic snarls prompting commuting problems.
Relief and rescue operations continue in eastern Afghanistan after the deadly earthquake left more than 1,100 people dead, over 3,500 others injured, and entire villages have collapsed, hospitals are overwhelmed, and the Taliban has appealed to the world for urgent assistance. India steps forward with food and tents. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar spoke with his Afghan counterpart as well. Here are the details, viewers.
Helicopters ferrying the wounded to hospitals and dropping food and tents. Army units and local volunteers searching inside rubble in Kunar and Nangarhar provinces. This comes after a powerful 6.0 magnitude earthquake struck late on Sunday in eastern Afghanistan, flattening mud brick houses and triggering landslides. Several aftershocks continue to rattle the eastern provinces, where entire villages have been reduced to rubble, with remote hamlets cut off by landslides. The death toll is expected to rise sharply in the coming days.
Yesterday night, around midnight, a very strong earthquake struck different parts of eastern Afghanistan, including Kunar, Nangarhar, and Laghman provinces. Sadly, it has caused heavy casualty. According to the spokesperson of Afghanistan's current government, so far the number of people killed has reached 900 and more than 3,000 others are injured. Local people told me that in Mazar Valley of Nurgul district in Kunar, a large village has been completely destroyed.
As the Taliban government appealed for urgent international support, India was the first to respond. The Ministry of External Affairs confirmed through a post on X that trucks laden with rice sacks and essential food items are on their way to the quake-hit regions. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar spoke with his Afghan counterpart, assuring that 1,000 family tents have been delivered to Kabul and 15 tons of food material are being moved by the Indian mission from Kabul to Kunar. The United Nations has also deployed its emergency teams with medicines and relief supplies, while other neighbors are assessing further assistance. Hospitals in Nangarhar and Kunar are overflowing with hundreds injured in critical condition. Doctors are treating patients on floors and in corridors, struggling with acute shortages of beds, medicines and blood. Survivors recount how the quake struck suddenly, giving families little time to escape. Entire livelihoods have been buried under rubble, and villages are in mourning as mass funerals take place.
Most of the victims are women and children who are still buried under the rubble and urgently need to be rescued. The Taliban authorities have formed a special committee to respond to this tragedy and have allocated 100 million Afghani for immediate relief. But international organization must act as quickly as possible and reach the affected area without delay to help relieve the suffering of the victims. I have nothing more to add except to call on the world. Afghans are facing a disaster like Judgment Day. Please save us. Please support us.
With fragile infrastructure, poor connectivity and aid bottlenecks, officials are warning of possible disease outbreaks in relief camps. Rebuilding homes, schools and farms will take years in one of the world's poorest nations. Rescue teams continue their race against time. Relief work is intensifying, but the scale of destruction means the humanitarian crisis is far from over.
And with that's the wrap on this edition of 6 Stories at 6. We'll be right back with the breaking developments with my colleague Abhishek Kapoor.